What's up everyone, it's me, Ronco Pop, and I am back here with another video. Today we are going to be drawing the horror movie killer Jason from the Friday the 13th movies. This is a super popular one, maybe one of the most popular horror killers of all time, probably up there with Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger. And yeah, so what you can see here is I have this reference I pulled off the internet just for the mask. For this video, we are going to be drawing, sketching out the upper body of him, holding his machete, but I'm going to try something different in that I'm going to try to use the isometry tool, or symmetry tool. Isometry tool? I can't remember. But anyways, it's the one where you draw on one side of the page and the same thing appears on the other side of the page. I'm going to be using that and hopefully to get the dots and all the markings and everything on the mask in perfect symmetry with one side with the other. We'll see how it works. Alright, so first off, I got a new layer up here. I am using the Procreate pencil with a few modifications just to make the lines a little bit bigger. Just using a light blue color. And we're going to go in here. I'm going to do, since I am using the symmetry tool, I'm going to make the face, make him just looking straight at the person, not off to the side with a 3/4 view or anything like that. Have a little body here. And his one arm is going to be holding the machete. The other arm is just going to be just chilling off to the side. Head's a little bit big there. Go down a little bit more. I'm just doing a really fast motions here. I'm trying to find out where I want the body, where I want the lines here. I'm going to go over this right now with a new rough layer just to put it down a little bit more clear, a little bit cleaner lines so I can use those and when I am inking. But I think that is what I want him to look like. Let's make him a little bit bigger. Right about like that, right in the middle. Alright, so I'm going to drop the opacity on that really low. Put up a new layer. With this one, I'm going to switch to the red pencil, still with the same pencil. And here is where I'm going to try to make this a little bit cleaner. Putting my lines down here. It's going to have eyes. I have these red markings on the mask. Looks like he has these dots over them. The eyes are all black. Let's see, we have like kind of like a nose shape here. So kind of put these little lines on the side just to give it a little bit of a indentation, like if there is a line. I don't know, I might get rid of that. We have these lines here for the accents. And then we have more dots, breathing hole dots, masks, whatever they are. Alright, let's see, they kind of go off to the side like that. And then on the side here, I'm trying not to be precise on it. I want it to look like a Jason mask, but to me it doesn't have to be, it's exactly, those dots are exactly where, they have to be. Well, otherwise it just doesn't look the same. I like to have my own style, as you've seen in my other videos, to this stuff. I don't want it to look exactly like the picture. I mean, if I wanted it to look exactly like the picture, I might as well just trace over the picture. Now I'm erasing these dots right here just because they are a little bit too wide for me. I want them a little bit closer in. That looks a little bit better. We got 3 going up. Okay, so we got his neck here. He's usually wearing some kind of raggedy shirt with like a jacket that's also all worn and raggedy. So we'll get the collar of the jacket, the raggedy shirt underneath. Now for his arms. Switch this around so you have the thumb there. And then the fingers are going to be kind of curving in because it is at a slight perspective angle. And he has his machete, just kind of like that. And then it'll just fan out. Can't remember what a machete look like. Something like that. Or do I want it the other way? No, I think I like it the first way. I think I have, yeah. Let me switch my eraser to a different one so I can erase those lines a little bit easier. Alright, and now going to the other side of his body. Finish this off here. And since this is my underdrawing, I don't worry too much about crossing over on the lines. Let's see. Make the jacket go down. And then his arm is just going to be hanging off on the side here. And let's see, flip this upside down so I can get the hand a little bit better. See how that looks there. It's a little bit bigger, so what I'm going to do is select that and then just shrink it just a little bit, move it a little bit up. I think I like that. Actually, I think I want the whole thing to move up a little bit more. That's a nice thing about using Procreate. You can move and resize things as you like. And I think we are getting close to the end though. Here, go back to my pencil. Alright. So yeah, I think I like that. So that is what we're going to do here. I think I'm going to put some blood in the background, but we'll finish that at the end. So now I'm going to hide my previous underdrawing. My new underdrawing, I'm going to drop the opacity again to that one. Okay. New layer on top of that. Switch my color to black and my pen to the Studio pen. I'm going to use the Studio 80, which is, like I've said, just my regular Studio pen brush that comes in Procreate, and I've upped the streamline so I get smoother lines on it. And now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to work on the mask in a symmetry. So now with the new layer created, go up to the actions, not the actions, where is it? In the selection tool, nope. See, I forgot where it is. I just had it a minute ago. Yeah, it is in actions. In actions, go to canvas, turn on the drawing guide. And now here we have a graph. That's one I think it's either I use last or it's a default. But if you hit edit drawing guide, you get your options down here. You can do isometric, perspective, or symmetry. Symmetry means whatever, there's this line right in the middle. See if I can bump it up a little bit more. Line right in the middle. Whatever you do to one side will happen to the other side. But I forgot one thing. I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to draw my head first because I don't want my head exactly symmetrical. I want it to be just a regular oval. So what I'm going to do is go in here, go around a couple times, and then keep my pen on the paper or on the screen. And that looks pretty good right there. So now I'm going to go back into actions, edit the drawing guide, symmetry, all the way up. Done. Okay. And now you can see my symmetry is going to be a little bit off. If I draw the eye here, it's going to be way over here. I'm going to move my underdrawing a little bit to the side, just so that it's a little bit more symmetrical as far as my guide of what I'm going off of. Alright, go back to my layer with the assisted symmetry, and now we're going to go in here like this. We'll do the eyes. Perfect. Ovals on those. So now one side here, one side here. I'm going to do the little red accent. I want it a little bit bigger than that. So I'm going to go up here. There we go. Alright, now we do these dots here. For these, I think I want perfect circles. One more on the sides. Going up top. And one more at the very top. Okay, and now for the kind of indentation of where the nose would be under the mask. Light in there. A little bit more here. Okay, looks good. Little kind of made a diamond kind of shape because of how close I was, but I think I kind of like that. It just gives a little bit more dimension, a little bit, looks a little different than the regular circles around the mask. Alright, going down to the bottom, holes at the bottom of the mask where he would be breathing. Now the red accent marks here. Just adjusted my brush just a little bit because the lines were a little bit too heavy for me. Keep the pin down because I want these pretty crisp as opposed to the one up top. I wanted it just a little bit more hand-drawn feeling on that one. Alright. Got some more dots on the side. And some more dots at the temples. Alright, and there we go. We got the mask there. So now, if I was to try to draw the rest of the body, it'd just show up on the other side. And maybe you want that. Maybe you want to try to draw the whole thing symmetrical like that. I will leave the neck there, but I'm going to go back up to my actions, edit drawing guide, and I'm going to turn off, go back to my 2D grid. Actually, done that. You could go back to 2D grid and it will turn off things, but it will just stick to the grid that you have there. So I'm going to undo all of that. And instead of changing it, you just want to turn your drawing guide off. And now on the layer, we can get back to, why is it doing it again? Oh, assisted. Turn off drawing assisted on the layer there. And now we should be able to, there we go. Alright, and now we will draw the rest of this body here just by hand. Going in again with the jacket here. Yeah, Jason was, as I said, one of the most, or is one of the most famous, horror movie villains, killers of all time. Him, Freddy Krueger, and Michael Myers. I wasn't, as I've said in all of these, I'm not a big horror movie fan, but Jason was always up there. I did like the movie Freddy vs. Jason. I thought that was kind of cool, after fans, speculating for so long who would win between who. I can't remember how it ended. Did it end like kind of in a tie, or like you could decide which one won? I don't remember. But it was cool that they finally got, screen time at the same time. Yeah, I'm not liking that. So what I'm going to do here is go in, draw the fingers one by one. Alright. New layer, I'm going to draw the machete, just so I can make it a little bit easier to erase later on. First we're going to do the handle here. Swoop around for the bottom of it. and just kind of like a, whoops, kind of like a straight line where the handle would stop. And now we got all the way up there. And I don't like the way it stopped at the bottom where the base is, so we'll do that. That looks pretty good. If you go slow enough, I wonder if it will hold the curve for me. It won't. It kind of makes it a sharp angle there, and I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is try to do this in one swoop where I can get a nice clean line for the blade of the machete. Yeah, like that. So I'll just fix this up here and erase the edge or the top of it. There we go. Alright, go back to my regular layer, back to my pen, and finish this up here. And as you can see, I drew through that because, whoops, because we have that machete on the other layer, so I don't have to worry about that. That hand still looks too big, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller here. Put a finger in the back. Yeah, I kind of like the way that came out. Alright, so now we're at the bottom of the jacket, and we're just about finished with these inks here. And then we will just draw his legs. Let's see, I think I'm going to make him a little bit bigger, so I'm going to erase the back or the parts of the line and merge the two layers real quick. So I'm going to erase this part so the machete sticks out properly. And on his hand, erase the handle. Okay. Merge this down. And now with this layer selected, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here. Alright. I think I like that. One line down the middle down here just for his pants. Alright. Turn off my roughs or my underdrawings right there. I think I like the way the mask came out. It is a little bit wider, thicker line on the outside. So what I'm going to do on my ink layer, I'm just going to go over the outsides real quick just so I can match that thickness and doesn't kind of look like it sticks out. The way it looks now, let's see here. The way it looks now, it's way too thick compared to the rest of this. But if you just add a thickness to the outside of your drawing, it'll kind of make the whole drawing pop, and it matches that thickness going over there. There we go. Now it kind of is one cohesive unit. Thicker lines is still around the mask, but that's okay. The lines around the body kind of fill it in and give it more pop, so it still looks like one cohesive unit. I'm going to get rid of this mask here for a second. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to color the mask first so I can kind of pick from those colors there. New layer there, and just rename it colors just so I don't get it all mixed up. I am going to lock the top layer, which is my inks layer, so I don't accidentally color it, and I'm going to set it to reference. Setting it to reference means when I drop a color into it, cancel. When I drop a color into a different layer, it will reference the lines on the reference layer. So it won't fill up the whole thing, it'll just fill up within the lines. Alright, so first things first, we are going to pick up this color here. Kind of want a lighter bit of a color on the mask. So we're going to go with this one, see what that one looks like. Looks a little bit too greenish. Go a little bit lighter. Might have to pick it out individually. I'm going to go this light. Yeah, I like that one much better. Pick a really loud red to drop in for the accents. And for the eyes and all the holes, we're just going to fill those all in with black. Now, I could drop these in individually each way, or a real easy way would be to do a new layer underneath the colors layer. Pick a real big brush that has a thick stroke so you don't, aren't making small lines. And underneath the color layer, we're just going to color this all in just like this. And that way, all these are getting colored in. It might be easier, it might be faster, depending on the detail that is in your picture. But if coloring something in the background, something like that, just like that, and then I would just merge these two, merge down, and now it's just one layer again. Okay, now we can get rid of this mask for reference. We are going to use a skin color, which is kind of a dirty skin. I don't think he wears gloves, so I'm going to use that. And let's see. And everything else is really gross. So we're going to go with like a greenish shirt. A little bit more dark there. Just going to use a studio pen to color the other areas. I'm going to go with kind of like a same type of dull, but for a blue for his jacket, and I think probably for his pants as well. The pants are probably going to be a little bit darker. Let's go with this color on his finger here. Alright, we are looking good. Let us do the handle of the machete. Alright, and then the last thing to color will be the machete itself. Do a light gray for that one. And there we got Jason. Let's add some colors in here. Or not some colors, let's add some shadows. So on top of my color layer, make a new layer. I'm going to do, let's do a, let's do a green shadow. We'll use it like a dark green. And which way? We'll do light source from over there. So we'll do just like this. I wonder if it should be darker than that. Let's do, let's change this opacity and see what it looks like. Yeah, it should be darker than that. So we're going to just redo that one real quick. Do a darker green, probably like that. Alright, and some shadows underneath the arm here. Do my selection tool for my shadows. And all I'm doing is just selecting the area that I've already kind of outlined that I want to be filled in. Once it's connected together, just drag and drop and it fills it all in. And we'll do the same thing up top here. And then we'll just add the background and we should be good to go after that. Oh. And it looks like we didn't fill in all of the blacks underneath on the color layer. So what I'll go back in and do real quick, pick up my black color here, go to my color layers, and just fill these in here. Actually, we'll go to my ink layers, since the shadows, for some reason I don't know why I didn't cover that one in. But doing it this way will work just fine. There we go. Okay, so now we got the shadows in. I'm going to drop the opacity just to change the hue of it. Kind of looks like he might be in the forest or something with that greenish color to it. Oh, forgot along his hand here. Okay, sometimes that happens when you lose the color, so I'll have to put the opacity back up, make sure I got the color picker on the right color, and drop the opacity back to where I want it. About at 60%. And now I can color it in again. A lot of times it saves it in your color choosers here, but for some reason it didn't save it that time. I picked it, so I had to go back in and choose it again. Not a big deal. Alright. So that is that. What I'm going to do now is add some blood to his machete. And for this, I am just doing whatever I want. Whoops, actually I'm on my shadow layer, so I'm going to go back to my color layer, do that over again. And I'm just not really having a plan with this blood, I just want it to be red, give it a little bit of a difference from the gray, and using a pretty bright red because I like the poppy colors. And for the rest of this, I'll just do my selection again, like I like to do. And as long as you're within the colors there, it won't bleed outside of it. Okay, there we go. And now for the background, what I'm going to do is to do a new layer underneath my color layers. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a gradient again, but I'm also going to do some blood drips. And for the blood drips, let's do a real high Stream Studio Max. That means it's still my studio pin, but what I've done is put the streamline up all the way to the top. So you might see some lag, but that's because it's trying to keep the line as straight and as, you know, not as wiggly as your hand might normally draw it. We are underneath, so what I'll do here is I didn't like that. Try this one more time. That looks better. There we go. So we got blood there. We are to take the reference off of this. So now when I fill this in, cancel. Go to my blood layer, drag and drop. Not sure why it's not filling it in. Oh, because I accidentally left a spot here. Sometimes the pen will do that. It'll leave a little gap. So hopefully that was the only one. There we go. And actually I kind of like that white underneath. Maybe just change it a little bit. Not too dark there. Alright. Yeah, I like the way that came out. I wonder if it looks good as green. Let's find out. No. Yep, there we go. Like that. So there we go. Jason from Friday the 13th. We got some shadows in there. We did the symmetry tool, and we got some blood drips. Hope you liked this video and found it informative. If there's anything else you'd like to know about using Procreate, let me know. I'm trying to think of some ideas of what to do for future videos when my October horror movie villains month is over. Please hit that like and subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. That way you hopefully get notified every time I have a new video up. And if that is it, yep, I think that's it. I will see you in the next video.